Hey, and welcome to another installment of Catching Up. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
And we're back from San Diego. Yeah. But, man, you know, okay, first things first. Let me go ahead and clear this. So we don't have any interviews for you. But it was
Someone was too busy all weekend.
Yeah, you know, we were pretty well busy the entire time we were there. Josh, I'm sure you were busy too because you've got all the Nerd HQ. And did you go to the Nerdist stuff too?
Yeah, I paid a visit over to their location, the Carnival in Petco Park.
Yeah.
Actually, since we're talking to you, can I... the only thing I know about Nerd HQ is that they have that black and white photo booth that I keep seeing people's pictures of. Can you explain just real concisely what Nerd HQ does? Other than just is like Zachary Levi's...
You said concisely.
Yeah, okay. Nerd HQ is basically a pop-up event that happens at San Diego Comic-Con, primarily. They do always have a booth, though, at New York Comic-Con, but as far as I know, they don't have like a Nerd HQ center set up there just because of space.
Mm-hmm.
But basically what it consists of, and as you were mentioning, the photo booth, its prime purpose serves for the Smiles for Smiles operation that Zach takes part in, where after the panels of hosts that go to Nerd HQ, you have the option of paying a fee to have a picture taken with the panelist.
Okay.
Wasn't there a mini Chuck reunion this year's Nerd HQ for Stars for Smiles?
Yeah, there usually is one about every year. Also with the little photo booth, it's basically, its other purpose is so you can get a photo at Nerd HQ with your friends.
Okay, so it's like a funneling thing for charity.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. That's what I figured it was, but all I've ever seen of Nerd HQ is like you posting and Sarah posting like their pictures.
Right, yeah, and then also they have, it's basically also open for people who don't get into Comic-Con. You don't require any sort of badge or anything
because it's usually
to get into
outside
it.
of the actual convention proper.
Right, and they also have Conversations for a Cause as well, where the donations or the fees that you pay to get into those, which are much more intimate, also go to the Smiles for Smiles operation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right on.
That's good. Thank you.
But yeah, so if you remember way back when our friend Corey, who works for Image Comics, invited me and Jake to basically work the Image Comics booth for the week, and it was really cool because I got to recommend all the sweet Image books that I read, to both neophytes and experienced readers, and that was but we got to do fun stuff like go to the Eisners, which is basically like the Golden Globes of comic bookdom for like writers and artists. I say Golden Globes over Oscars because you can eat and drink during the event.
Which
Cool.
makes it better.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Jake, you got anything you want to throw in?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, every day there was something crazy going on. There was some cool, creator, artist, writer that we got to meet and hang out with, and we helped a lot of the signings, and just because we were talking about the Eisners. I mean, the coolest thing that happened at the Eisners was like Mike Allred. Like the Allreds did like they presented some awards, and I'd seen Mike Allred in interviews and stuff before, but when he walked out exactly like you'd think Mike Allred would look and just sound and be. He's wearing this like cosmic, suit like of the solar system with a tie of Dark Side of the Moon, and he comes out and him and his wife have this great little banter going back and forth, and then his phone starts ringing in the middle of it. He's like, "Oh God!" And he takes out his phone and he puts it in front of the microphone so everyone can hear it. And it's "Tomorrow Never Knows" by the Beatles. And he starts putting up like the rock and roll horns and starts headbanging to it. And I was like, "This is the guy that created Madman. This is
the current artist on Silver Surfer.
This is the coolest person on the planet and the universe." Is Mike Allred. Also, he had like the cool this great voice for voiceover.
Oh, it sounds like his testicles dropped when he was like 7. Yeah, it was awesome.
But yeah, they was really fun, and the Eisners were fun. It was a fun time to see the writers and artists and everyone and the comic industry and community kind of just have fun. There wasn't any kind of
the top writing award is for Bill Finger.
Yeah.
Which like as you know here,
Bill Finger.
Yeah, damn right. Like he's totally like the creator of
Yeah.
Batman, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, and they mentioned that a couple times. And
You know what other geek out favorite man we ran into kind of at the Eisners?
who?
Jim Steranko.
Oh, that's right. He walked right in front of us twice.
Did you just like walk past and be like, "Hey, how'd you slap?"
yeah. Tell me about the time you slept, Bobcat.
He won an Eisner.
As you're falling down a cliff.
Yeah, into the bottomless abyss.
He won an Eisner, and so he
Shaped
wasn't
like a
there
bat.
to accept it. So he came in. Someone must have told him. So he walked in, grabbed it, and then walked out.
Slapped someone on his way out.
Yeah.
Probably slapped everybody. I'm pretty sure
walked
I
down.
blacked out. Like a Three Stooges routine. Just
Yeah.
both hands out.
But again, yeah, the Eisners are pretty cool. It's a cool thing to do, and see that kind of interaction with everybody, and you know, we got to see, you know, even though these two people weren't there, but you know, John Byrne is a huge influence on all of us, or at least Sam and I know, and
Well, certainly, I mean, he's our Superman
yeah,
creator.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, so to see him, at least his legacy and acknowledgments, and then, you know, Frank Miller wasn't there either.
Chris
but
Claremont as well,
Chris
who was
Claremont,
the only one who was
yeah.
there.
And, you know, Frank Miller got inducted as well. Obviously, he wasn't there, except that Jim Lee was there for him, and said he was in good spirits and doing well.
Also ran into Edward James Olmos.
Yeah,
at the Eisners.
and
Orlando Jones.
He and they're
Ooh.
presenters. Yeah. Orlando Jones is pretty funny.
Did you? I wish I had been there so I could have like referenced, you know,
Evolution.
because I just watched that like 2 weeks ago
Yeah.
for like
that
the
would've been-
millionth time.
That would have been
God.
fun.
I would have brought it with me. I'd have been like, this is my favorite thing you've ever done.
I didn't know that Orlando Jones or Edward James Olmos, to be
Right.
fair, was going to be there.
Right.
But
right.
I was just like, oh,
I mean,
shit.
to be fair, even like if I ran into David Duchovny, like as much as I love X-Files, I would have been like, Evolution.
You know, speaking of X-Files, you know who I rode in an elevator with up to my room?
Ooh.
Nobody that was on the X-Files, but another fellow appreciator of X-Files Laserdiscs, Kevin Smith.
Did you tell him about my?
Well, no, because it was an elevator, and elevators are very confined space, and he
Yeah.
was there with his family, so I
Oh.
didn't want to be like, oh,
Oh.
yo, Kevin Smith.
him, and I forget his wife's name, and Harley Quinn.
Jennifer
Smith.
Jen wasn't there, but Harley was there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they were doing a big thing at Hall H for Yoga Hoosers.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. I
The
saw.
second in the Canadian trilogy. And I was
right.
so excited for
Moose Jaws being the finale.
that. It's Jaws with a moose.
Yeah, I saw his post where Harley came out on stage and he pretty much said, you know, this was one of the happiest moments of his life, his daughter coming out on stage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't actually speak
Oh, God.
directly with Kevin Smith
Well-
because
I would have probably. I mean, chances are I would have been like, okay, let's not geek out, let's be respectful. But in my mind, I would have been like, I could talk to him about Awesome Con, or Jason Mewes thought my Laserdiscs were cool.
my mind was definitely kind of racing a mile a minute, but I was
Yeah.
like,
Although
Be cool, be cool.
yeah,
I-
let's not corner the guy.
I do feel bad for him, though, because his panel was after the Star Wars panel.
Oh yeah, I
And
heard.
he'd asked Chris Hardwick, like, hey, give a shout out for my panel coming up after next. And that was after Hardwick found out that everyone in the Star Wars panel right afterwards got to go to a Star Wars concert.
Yeah, so everyone left.
And he was like, I really want to, man, but I honestly can't.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Now
but-
were you just in Hall H for Sunday?
For Saturday.
Oh, I thought okay. What happened in Hall? What were you privy to?
Well, it started out with the Warner Brothers panel, and we got...
No one really cares about that.
Oh, yeah, no, just a small little independent film called, I think, Batman versus some super dude or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman.
Yes.
Yeah, Super Tramp. What about
Super Salad.
And of course, Suicide Squad.
Oh, yes, both those trailers were godly.
Was I have to know for the sake of my own.
Penis.
Yes, exact. I have to. Was Scott Eastwood part of the panel?
No.
Oh, my penis is safe.
It retracts yet again.
But he did feature prominently in the trailer, though surprisingly not saying a single word in it.
The rumor, and of course, you have to keep in mind that we're not fucking Warner Brothers, so I don't have any insider information for you guys. The rumor is Scott Eastwood is Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Pre-Deathstroke.
I definitely do see that happening just from this trailer alone.
That's why they kind of downplay him in that.
Yeah. I mean, he would fit for the film if that, being the character he is playing.
It's weird that Deathstroke would be that young.
True, but again, much with DCU's cinematic universe, they are retelling, much like Marvel does, and how a lot of these characters are being portrayed on the screen this time.
I mean, if the different characterizations of some of these actors, I feel like age is probably the
it's weird to me that the first we see of Batman in the new DC cinematic universe is technically Dark Knight Returns. His final story.
Well, also speaking of age,
gray-haired Batman, love it.
We were given concept art of what Wonder Woman's film is going to be, and she hasn't aged today, and she, if I accurately, it looks like she was fighting with British soldiers in World War I.
Oh, right. So, like, at the Battle of the Somme or something, like, storming, like, British trenches or German trenches?
Yeah. So, basically, she doesn't age at all, as apparent from the concept art they showed in that and what she looks like in the Batman vs. Superman trailer.
In the original Joss Whedon script for Wonder Woman, it was a period piece. Kind of like the 70s TV show where it took place and she was fighting Nazis.
Yeah, so it's basically going to be the first Avenger for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it'll probably be her. It'll be like Wolverine Origin, X-Men Origins Wolverine, but good. Just show her, like, fight through time.
Yeah. Although I like both.
I will defend Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine. The first 2 acts are great, basically until they reveal "quote unquote" Deadpool, and I say with "quote unquote" because boo to that the Baraka pool.
Yeah.
Up until that point, it's a pretty fucking good movie.
I dig the movie until he escapes from Weapon X.
Yeah. Right around there is the gray zone of where it starts to get bad.
Yeah, it loses its focus, basically.
And introduces Baraka Pool.
Yeah. Did so you weren't in Hall H for the Fox presentation?
No, I was. All that happened on Saturday.
Oh, shit. So you saw the Deadpool footage that has, another, I think, 2 weeks to officially air, 3 weeks?
Yeah, we're going to be getting it next month officially.
So you got to see the sneak.
Well, I got to see him poke fun of in a world style first, where he makes fun of, from the studio that sewed Deadpool's mouth shut like the fucking idiots they are.
Right.
And then the trailer for the film.
Yeah. Now, I guess my own pride standpoint, have not seen the leaked trailer because I hate cell phone footage.
Oh, no, you are appealing to Ryan Reynolds' wishes specifically.
That too. I love Ryan Reynolds.
He's just like, thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Unlike what Warner Brothers did for the Suicide Squad trailer.
I mean, I will respect what Warner Brothers did because they were like, you know what, these people are fucking looking at this footage. Let's give them proper. Let's show them
they want to see it.
Well, they did it.
Like, what are they waiting for?
Kind of like what Fox did with the leaked Deadpool test footage. They were like, hey, you know what? Clearly people want this. Let's make this movie.
Right. Well, I had someone
this has been our plan all along.
Point out where Marvel in a tweet said, damn it, Hydra, and then Warner Brothers sent out a sort of like passive-aggressive, like, well, we really don't want you to see poor quality footage, so we will have our hand forced to release it.
Yeah, they didn't have fun with it like Marvel did.
Exactly.
But they still were like, well, we kind of have to do it now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why don't they do, why they did
also,
it with Batman.
Like Warner Brothers doesn't have a cool organization like Hydra established to make that joke.
Yeah,
right.
Hive isn't cool.
Yeah.
Although it was quite refreshing to see they did release
Royal
the
Flush Gang
trailer of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Batman vs Superman.
Did Man from U.N.C.L.E. come out? Or the trailer?
Yeah, no, after the panel, they like a few minutes later, they released the Comic-Con exclusive one.
So you got to see Henry Cavill twice?
Yes.
There you
go.
Maximum Cavill.
His American accent in the film is really refreshing because it doesn't feel like something forced, and he does such a good damn job of hiding his accent.
Were you disappointed with his Superman?
No, I loved both.
Okay, I was gonna say he's been doing American accents.
Well, no, that's the great thing is both accents are completely different.
Oh, they're different. They're different regions.
Yeah, he's kind of got like this Midwestern thing going with Superman.
Makes sense.
But he's like almost Mid-Atlantic or something with Man from U.N.C.L.E. as Napoleon Solo.
Yeah, they're both so well done. It was brilliant to hear the differences.
Now that they have the movie coming out, I've been meaning to go back and watch the series. Unlike what I did with Wild Wild West or the Avengers.
Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Still haven't watched a single episode of Mission Impossible.
And now it's not on Netflix anymore. I was so bummed they took down all 7 seasons. I was like,
you'd think that this would be prime time to have it.
Yeah, unless I guess maybe the Paramount was like, hey, if you want to re-up, we're gonna
up the ante because we know that it's
up the license, and it's like, well,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's so many different angles for
all about that
things like
bottom line.
All about that cheddar.
Yeah, man. Speaking of
cheddar.
Well, I guess there was cheddar and bottoms involved. But speaking of both of those, and Deadpool, Jake and I got to have dinner with Joe Kelly, who basically co-created Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the listed co-creators are Rob Liefeld, who we also. Did you actually interact with Rob?
I didn't know. I mean, I just saw him he was the first signing, and then he did a signing the second day, like previews night signing the second day. And I just saw him, but I didn't talk to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able to hold up a conversation with Rob Liefeld.
I didn't try.
Well, he is also referenced in the Deadpool trailer. He's made fun of.
I mean, he was the creator.
Yeah. Does he say fucking Liefeld while he's going through pouches?
He does say fuck Liefeld as he's walking through a strip club.
Does he make any jokes about Deathstroke? Because that's really who he is.
There wasn't any of that in the trailer footage, but
I'm sure he doesn't because it's DC property.
Yeah,
although when asking about the super suit that he wants to have, he says, "Please don't make it animated or green."
Oh yeah. Nice little pot
Green
shot
Lantern.
there. Yeah, which has been the movie's been renamed Green Lantern Corps.
Yes, and from the wide concept art, because they had screens surrounding all throughout Hall H, and they showed a very wide panoramic of the entire Corps. Including every single human Green Lantern from Earth to date.
So there's 5.
Yeah.
Wait, did it have Alan Scott? Because he's not really a Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, he uses Starheart, not the central power battery.
Well, they showed...
Did it have Kilowog?
Yes.
Was it voiced by Henry Rollins?
Well, no, they just showed...
Seth? No, Henry.
It was Michael Clark Duncan, and so that can't ever happen again.
Yeah, but no, they did show a photo of all the current Lantern members, and the one for Hal, everyone keeps mentioning that it looks like they took Chris Pine's face from the
Star
Trek poster and put Lantern's mask over his face.
Is Tyrese Gibson Jon Stewart?
Again, I didn't get a close-up look of all of their faces because, it was a bit of a distance. No, I didn't see him in there, but they're basically almost without directly confirming that Pine is going to be Hal.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I always thought he was a good choice.
Yeah.
Granted, I thought Ryan Reynolds was a good choice. I didn't think that film was his fault.
No, just the suit.
Well, the suit's not his fault either.
Yeah.
I've always been a huge Nathan Fillion for Green Lantern supporter, even now.
Yeah.
I don't think he's too old.
No.
You saw the Con Man footage too, right?
I did see the footage they released, but I did not see the panel.
Oh, okay.
I saw your boner for it all over social media.
Yeah, I kept hearing everyone talk about how awesome it was going to be. It's like, okay, fine, I'll watch the footage. And it was like, okay, this makes fun of everything properly that all these actors have ever been in.
So Dodgeball?
Yes.
True story of an underdog. Did you...
Knight's Tale?
Did you run into... Did you run into anyone of note at Nerd HQ?
No, not really. Although I did see the actress that plays Jenna Simmons walking out when I was trying to use the bathroom at Nerd HQ. And during the ending hours of the party on Saturday, Jared Padalecki showed up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Although I'm a bit upset I missed his Supernatural panel because his campaign he started for Always Keep Fighting, which is basically he created to help people with depression. The people who helped run the organization all handed out candles during the panel for everyone to light when he came out. And he saw everyone start, these lights start showing up, and he thought, what is this, like lighters coming out or cell phones with lights on them? And someone told him with a little note what they were all for, and he nearly broke down into tears about it.
That's sentimental.
Yeah.
You know who Jake almost kind of but not really ran into?
Who?
Paul Stanley.
Oh.
But it wasn't actually Paul Stanley.
Oh.
Because in classic Kiss fashion, I was going to use the restroom, and
that is classic Kiss.
that's so Kiss. And
using a restroom.
I walked by and I forgot that they were signing that day, and they were doing 5:30 to 6:30, I think, signing. And I saw like this big like where the booth would be, but it was like two levels and everything was blocked off, so you couldn't see. So clearly, people inside were changing. And right as I passed by, a door swung open because I heard like I heard like clunking down the stairs, and the door swung open, and it was like I can't remember what era Kiss it would have been, but
what's Shiny Jacket? Is that Dress to Kill?
No.
Dynasty?
No. I can't remember, but either way, no, Dynasty would have been like that giant purple number. But what I thought was Paul Stanley walked out, because why the fuck would there be a fake Paul Stanley? But then I remembered it's Kiss, and like Kiss does that all the time. So I walked by and I thought it was Paul Stanley in the corner of my eye because he had, had the hair, and I went, ugh! Like I made this like crazy noise because like I don't know, like since 7th grade I've like idolized Kiss. And I just walked faster, and luckily I had already
didn't throw up on yourself.
Luckily I'd already used the restroom, or else it just would have been a mess. And then I went back, and Corey was like, I was like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna just run to Paul Stanley. She's like, go meet them. I don't care, just go. And which was super nice of her. But then I went there, and they had like, at most cons they have that guy standing at the end of the line with like the big flag. And I just double checking, even though it's obvious, I was like, hey man, this is the end of the line, right? And he goes, yeah, for the people who won the raffle. But then right after me is where the line starts, the people who didn't, like who can try to meet him. And the line was really long after that, kind of almost wrapped around again. So I went to the very end real quick, and I was just seeing how long it was going to take. And even though Corey said go and wait, I knew that two things probably were going to happen, where time was going to run out, or I would be there almost the rest of the con. And even though she said it was cool, I didn't want to leave the booth that long. And so I kind of realized, put two and two together, like they had like their curtains closed so you couldn't see when you walked in. And then I realized like throughout the day, and didn't want to admit it to myself at the time, but like it clearly wasn't Paul Stanley, because like the second fucking day, the dude was still on top, like pointing to people like, yeah. And I don't think Kiss was even in makeup. I think they just hired this guy to look like Paul Stanley. And, again, it's classic Kiss, but like it still baffles me, like why the fuck even do that?
Yeah.
I guess because it worked, it fooled me, but I'm not bitter about it at all. Jesus. And
Paul.
And I realized like there was no way, the line was too long. But the guy at the end of the line, I was like, is this the end of the line? He's like, yeah man, didn't get an email, probably won't be able to meet him though. And he goes, what'd you bring the sign? And I was like, I don't know, like if I can meet, I just want to hang out. Like everyone had like lunch boxes from like the 70s and shit. Like
I'd totally bring my Lick It Up
but
vinyl and CD.
Yeah. I just would have loved to get a picture with him. But yeah, I mean, so again, classic Kiss to do that, to have fake Paul Stanley. But
so it was fake Paul Stanley signing stuff?
No, he was just standing up on top of like the booth, like pointing at people, like like he even had like the BC, the Iceman guitar or whatever, like
Okay. Because I was gonna say it's
pretty
funny
shitty
if he was signing stuff.
Because when I looked at stuff later, when you look at it, even though he's wearing makeup, it's clearly not Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
But when I saw him, I saw
like how it's clearly not Ace Frehley and Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Well, yeah, that because the dude's black. But but.
He's not exaggerating, by the way.
No.
He's like, I just saw the profile and like the big hair, and I was like, holy crap, Paul Stanley. But I mean, for like that, day, I was like, I fucking almost had Paul Stanley.
That's all you needed.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But we did actually meet people who were real.
Yeah.
that were
not just blow up dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you guys had a picture with Mr. Spawn himself.
Mr. Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Which was like basically the only other thing that could have matched that was meeting Grant Morrison. Now we saw Grant Morrison
from a distance.
So
you felt him.
Yeah. Well, all the questions of the universe were answered in that moment.
Yeah.
By being near him. Now we were seriously like this. We were seriously this close. Like
really?
You and me. Yeah. Because we were walking by at the end.
Did
of
you
the show.
ask if you should put a lid on your Slurpee?
Well, it's.
I would have asked how he took his Slurpee.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he's so fucking cool that he probably would have just rolled with it.
Sam,
yeah.
You don't know my name. Yes, I do. Sam.
He's like, I can see your badge. But
it's a fucking badge.
Yeah. Mine says Grant.
You see it right here.
Yeah, but anyway,
you can't put a lid on your life. Don't put a lid on your Slurpee.
Yeah, it's one day. Got to me in the say that. But no, we were walking the show, Corey. Like they had the DC panel, DC booth where they had like the Batman, and they had the armor, like the fucking Dark Knight Returns armor.
Those suits were nice.
In
the
person.
stuff that's being used in the new movie.
Yeah, like the armor was there.
Bat.
And I had seen the pictures at other cons of the costume, but I'd never seen the armor anywhere. I don't know if that was exclusive from San Diego, but either way, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, because to this date it was.
I'll jump back to the Grant Morrison thing in a second.
Oh yeah, we were walking by and you're like Supergirl.
Yeah, and here's the thing: the first day, like the Tuesday,
it was day 0. It was setup day. We had spent the entire day
it was
we had spent the entire day breaking our backs over these.
Oh man,
these hardcover
books.
Sex criminals.
Yeah. There was a lot of sex criminals. It's sold out.
It's a Comic-Con, so yeah, there's a lot of sex criminals there.
And so we were putting tables and stuff together, and Sam and I we got some time to kill. Which is really fun because the con was like empty except for people working, so we were free to walk around. There's still a lot of stuff covered up. All the hot toys are covered up and everything.
I remember when we walked by the Star Wars booth and I had my phone out because I was texting. They all kind of like looked at me like, "Is this asshole going to take pictures?" And I was just like, "I can send this text later."
Yeah.
I got that text.
And so we walked by the DC booth and they had I could have sworn that I saw the Supergirl costume out.
You did.
It was out.
Yeah, they were
Josh
setting up.
Confirmed.
They were setting up all the television suits and all of the film suits.
Because when I went back the next day, the Supergirl outfit wasn't out.
Well, that's because Josh.
And I don't know if that was. I could have swore because I remember
just for a minute
we looked into the center area and I see all the DC costumes and I'm like, holy shit, it's a Supergirl costume. And again, I don't know what I was seeing, but I thought it was there. But they also like the Flash and everything else. And Sam goes, dude, Jake, this. And I turned the corner and they had the Batman, the classic Batman Ben Affleck suit and the Superman Henry Cavill suit. Now we had seen basically the Superman suit in New York a couple years ago. It was still really cool to see.
I remember
it was still
that.
really awesome because it was in
plexiglass.
But it was in Ben Affleck, like a Henry Cavill kind of mold.
Gotcha.
So was
it
this
like Superman?
Man of Steel one or Batman
Man of
vs
Steel.
This is
Superman?
Batman vs Superman. Well, no. The one we
this
saw
was years ago. This is Man of Steel.
The one we saw in New York was Man of Steel, but it was just
I imagine they're about the same.
A little bit, yeah.
And so you're just kind of standing there. But in this one, it had like a Cavill kind of thing. So it looked like Henry Cavill.
Oh, nice.
And then they had the Batman one, obviously, right next to it. And I have seen a good chunk of the Batman outfits in person, in real life, like we probably, most of us have. This is the first time that it was legitimately freaky to look at. I remember looking at it and being like, if I saw that in person, it would freak me out. If I saw someone wearing that outfit, but none of the other ones have ever done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as I love Keaton, it looks goofy in daylight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of them look goofy in daylight. This one doesn't look goofy in daylight whatsoever. And I was like, that is fucking cool. But then we turned the corner and the fucking armor was staring at us with the lights on.
Yeah.
The eye lights on. And I was like, holy shit. That blew my mind to day 0. I was like, I can't believe this is out here. I can't fucking believe it. The Wonder Woman suit was there too and looked fantastic. Just looked really awesome.
Oh, yes.
With the lasso and the sword and the shield, everything was so cool. And then all the DC stuff they had, of course, they had the Green Arrow. Just the Arrow. It became the Green Arrow later.
Yeah.
Did you get that whole? Were you there for that whole panel and the reveal of all that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, seeing Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
Come out and pretty much telling the entire audience we had not failed him or this convention. And the second I saw the suit, the new one being worn by him, I was like, that is Green Arrow.
Yeah.
There were such enough fine differences to it that it just oozed Green Arrow.
I'm pretty psyched to see.
And Josh oozed man juice.
I did.
I'm pretty psyched to see it.
That was gross. Okay. That's where we're drawing the line.
Something about man juice. Anyway, yeah.
But anyway, so cut back to a couple days later, the con is closing, and we asked Corey, we're like, hey, have you seen, because we were freaking out, we were telling everybody, have you seen the Batman v Superman stuff yet? Holy crap, have you seen the Batman v Superman stuff? And so Corey's like, no. We're like, hey, come on, let's go see.
No, it's Image
Let's
Comics.
go show you. Yeah, let's go see the Batman v Superman stuff. And so as we're walking by, Sam goes, oh, it's Grant Morrison. And I turn, and he's doing a signing. And I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. And freaking out that Grant Morrison's in there.
A chorus of holy shit.
Yeah, just a bunch of Grant Morrison singing in my head. Holy shit, holy
just
shit.
disembodied heads floating around your
different
own.
arrows of Grant Morrison. I wanted to shout out, Animal Man, but I was just that was one of the few times, the 2 times where meeting Todd McFarlane, or not meeting Grant Morrison, but seeing Grant Morrison in person and meeting Todd McFarlane, where I was like, whoa. Like, it stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, nice.
And so
You also saw Geoff Johns.
I did. I saw Geoff
We'll
Johns.
do that story after.
I'll tell you a very funny story about Geoff Johns. I did not meet him. I just got to get it out there. It was a bummer, but it's something ridiculous that if I ever do meet him, maybe I'll have the balls to tell him the story one day. But and I have a funny Cisco story. I have a funny Cisco story from Flash too.
Yeah.
Yes, which is again, I'm gonna sound like a fucking idiot by the time this is over from all the shit that I went through.
Oh, don't worry, Jake. You already said that.
Yeah, stupid Jake.
Speaking of Flash, I basically sat through all the DC television panels with the exception of Supergirl.
No, I was gonna say you didn't listen.
But
to those.
I was okay missing the pilot. You know, it's if I want to really see it, I can go
heard that
watch it
people
on
were
the internet.
Pretty psyched about it. Though.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it did really well.
Well, people that come to Comic-Con and we're going to sit through that panel obviously want to see it, and we're going to be like, this looks like that parody of the Black Widow thing on SNL.
But you know, some people probably were, they're, I don't know, the Comic-Con crowd, I feel like it's hard to please sometimes. With
and there's going to be people that sit through it just so they can be upset by it.
True.
But I was pleasantly surprised to find out that people were happy about it, because I'm psyched about it. I really can't wait to see it.
Right, but for the Flash panel, basically they touched upon how we will be getting Earth 2.
Oh, yeah.
Vibe and Killer Frost.
Jake Garrett.
Yes,
his helmet was there. The helmet was there at the DC thing too.
Yeah.
Did
you put it on?
I mean, you couldn't put it on.
Jay
I would
Garrick
have definitely put it on.
and
all the lice.
Jay Garrick has been cast. Wally West is confirmed, but
That's
also
my Flash.
the villain is going to be Zoom.
The villain
For season 2 is going to be Zoom.
It was Zoom for the first season, so
yeah, but they specifically said.
But there's going to be actual confrontations throughout the whole season, not just there's a Reverse Flash.
Yeah, well, whereas Reverse Flash always was known as Professor Zoom in the comics, correct?
Well, I mean it's interchangeable name.
Professor Eobard Thawne, better known as Professor Zoom,
right?
Also known as the Reverse Flash.
Right. For this season 2, they specifically have said the villain's name is Zoom.
Just Zoom.
Yes.
So like Zoom. So like Hunter Zolomon.
I would assume so because.
Such a.
Well, I mean, yeah, he is he's in the other one, right?
Does Hunter Zolomon show up?
Isn't he?
Or is he the Zoom of Earth 2?
No, Hunter. Okay. Eobard Thawne, Professor Zoom, is from the 25th century, and he comes back and he's like, "Fuck you, Flash."
But he's of Earth.
But he's of Earth Prime, I'm your biggest fan, but you don't like me, so I'm gonna fuck you up. Yeah, he's. So what was your question?
But he's of Earth Prime.
He's of He's of Earth 1. Yeah.
Okay.
He's of Barry Allen's Earth.
And then there's Hunter Zolomon. I can never get over that name. Anyway, that's a criminal profiler, kind of, I guess, like Eddie Thawne, and how they stage him in the show. And yeah, he suffers a horrific accident and decides to become Zoom.
Okay, that might be how they tie this one in.
Maybe it's Eddie Thawne.
Because Tom Cavanaugh is coming back, but he's now coming back as proper Harrison Wells.
What, are they resurrecting him?
Well,
I mean, you don't know, but
yeah, but the basis of how the season finale went, it leads one to believe that Harrison Wells has returned back as proper himself from Barry's timeline.
Oh yeah, because they went back in time.
I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
I'll need to rewatch the finale because I'm like, but he's been dead for 20 years.
Right, but all those events have been
right.
rewritten back to proper timeline, so that never happened.
Yeah.
So Harrison Wells,
Back to the Future 2 style.
Yes.
While we're talking Flash, do you want to say your Cisco story?
Yeah, it's
first?
just really quick. So the con was over and we were in the San Diego airport. By the way, San Diego airport is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Chicago O'Hare.
Not that cool. It's no, it's not that. What needs to be done is done. It'll get you to where you need to be. But it just seemed really crammed, and everyone was pissed.
We're talking about San Diego, right? Because that one's pretty tiny.
No. I'm talking about Chicago Airport.
Oh,
Chicago Airport.
I liked Chicago, or I liked San Diego.
Yeah, San Diego Airport was fine. I mean,
Chicago.
it wasn't huge, but the food was really good. It was Phil's Barbecue.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty good.
The counter burger.
Yeah, the thing about Phil's Barbecue.
They have one of those in Sterling.
The thing about Phil's Barbecue is,
and Times Square.
Ooh.
First of all, they totally forgot my order, which is kind of funny. After a while, the girl looked over because she was like, "Oh wait, what's your number? And I was like this. She's like, oh God. Oh God. Yeah, it was nice. But the food was really good. Anyway, I got the Broham burger. No, that Broham burger. It was like the barbecue Broham.
Which nobody orders, probably.
I guess,
so
because
like,
But I mean, it's like a pulled pork sandwich. How do you not order a pulled pork
somebody
sandwich?
Somebody pulls down like a lever, like, we got a
Broham.
DEFCON 1. We got a Broham order.
We got a Broham. So anyway, I'm eating.
Someone find the pork and shred it.
I'm eating the food, and Sam's sitting in front of me, and to my back is the bar. And Sam goes, very, like, kind of like, hush, hush. He's like, is that Cisco from The Flash sitting behind you at the bar? And I, instead of doing the classic, like, oh, where's the bathroom? I got to look, kind of thing from, like, Seinfeld or whatever. I turn really quick. And I look, and there's only one. The bartender's not even there. He's just sitting there, like he could be looking right at us. He wanted to. He's sitting at the other side of the bar, and it's him. And I look, and I'm staring at him. And what he's doing is he's just kind of taking the sightseeing, kind of eating his food, looking around. This is so fucking insane. He's kind of looking around, right? And all of a sudden, he just looks down and locks eyes with me. And I go, oh! And I just turn my head really quick, and I turn around, and I just keep eating my food, and I'm just like, I can't look again. Because I was trying to, my main goal is not to make anyone feel uncomfortable. Like Sam was doing with Kevin Smith.
Oh,
I don't want to make any of them feel uncomfortable. I don't want to be like, oh, you signed my shit, please, run up to them. And I never want to do that, right?
Thank you for that, Jake.
And so, yeah. And so
on behalf of all celebrities.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They probably deal with all that shit anyway. He's coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. He probably had enough of it,
Fucking nerds.
And so, the last thing I wanted to do was, be awkward, and I was staring at him, and he just happens to locks eyes at me. I was like,
mid-chew.
Yeah, he's chewing and stares at me, and I was like, And so I had my back turned. I was like, oh God. I just sat there for a while, and then so much so that when we were leaving, I made sure my back was turned, doing a turtle walk, lobster crab walk away, so he wouldn't look at me. Because I was just like, dude, he's gonna he fucking hates me, man. He's the Flash.
I had a moment like that where Friday night, waiting to get in for Saturday in the Hall H panel, I went back to my hotel to shower and change, and I was walking past the convention center.
A rare sight at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. I walked past
any con, but
Stephen Amell and John Barrowman talking to each other, heading back to their hotel.
Nice.
So you just exploded.
No, I very politely continued walking past them, noticing the height difference between the two.
Oh, really?
And then walked.
Oh yeah, isn't John Barrowman pretty short comparatively, or is it the other way around?
Yes, no, he is shorter than Stephen Amell.
A pretty tall guy.
And walking past a bunch of fangirls being like, oh my god, was that totally? And I turned to them and was like, yes, that was. And they were like, oh my god.
I think you got to be cool guy.
Yeah.
That same night, I rode an elevator with Jessica Chobot.
Did you get your picture taken with her?
Let's just keep bragging about our elevator skills.
Was I in the elevator? I didn't know who that was.
I was also. If we're talking elevator skills, one more time, there was Granny Mahara from MythBusters.
Nice.
I mean,
I was at a bar with him at AwesomeCon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the same bar that, with Brian O'Halloran.
Oh yeah. I remember this.
But did you guys get your picture taken with Chobot?
No, I was in an elevator with her.
An elevator is big enough to take a selfie.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like a trapped, confined space, being like, take my picture.
Right? Yeah, you don't want to be that kind of douche.
You did see one other elevator thing. We were coming back. I think it was the second night. And we had a couple drinks. We weren't belligerent drunk assholes, but it was obvious. We had a good time. And we're walking back, assholes. and Jason Mewes walked in, and you could tell the last thing he wanted to do was get in an elevator with a bunch of tipsy dudes.
Yeah,
so he was like, "I'll take the next elevator."
He kept hitting the up,
but he kept hitting
the
up button, so the doors
open.
weren't closing. And so it almost gave us an opportunity to lean out and be like, "Yo, Jay, stop hitting the up button." But then eventually it worked out. I think his assistant came in and was in there. But again, so Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith were there. We saw Neil Adams walk by too, which is kind of cool. But
nice.
Real quick. Outside of Todd McFarlane, you saw the fucking coolest thing in the world in person. You saw the Batmobile.
Yes.
That's fucking
cool.
You
saw what Zack Snyder roll
Zack
up in the...
Snyder was just cutting loose.
That dude knows how to have fun and
in the Batmobile with, funny enough, a police escort.
What I would be doing.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Go figure. A vigilante like that would get a police escort.
Did you see Batman 66?
Yeah.
They had him on speed dial.
Yeah, that's true.
So, anyways, he just pulls up at a Hall H line and.
Well, no, he also. Well, he did that for a little bit, but also drove around the backside of the convention center for everyone waiting way back in the Hall H line.
Yeah, I remember when we were walking on the marina.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And just, this Batmobile is probably the biggest, beefiest one I've ever seen, because I've seen the Tumbler, and I've seen Keaton's Batmobile as well, but this thing had so much more personality, style and just real raw power behind it. And
That's
seeing
impressive because the Keaton one has always been my favorite.
Yeah,
for style and.
But seeing the scene actually drive in person, it just, for what their universe are creating for now, this one just felt more real than any of the other ones. But also in that line, they had a bunch of Warner Brothers personnel coming around throwing out T-shirts that had the graffiti-style posters.
Cool.
And they did it almost like in the style of they had a T-shirt cannon.
I want a T-shirt
they were
cannon
just
so bad.
throwing them out so badly that you basically had to fight people to get these shirts.
Is it now, again, I've never done the Hall H thing before. Is it like a fucking madhouse? Like, are people like really like antsy after a while and like... You know what I mean? Like in line, I don't know. Like do people like run in to get a seat, or like after a while they're like, yeah,
they're nerds,
don't this is my spot. Or, what are you doing? Like blah blah blah.
Well, yeah. Thankfully, we had no
stab a guy with a pencil.
Yeah, thankfully we had no eye stabbings this year, but no, it's not always like that. Usually they're somewhat a little bit better about it.
Okay. I just figure like after a certain while, people would kind of like lose it. You know what I mean?
I think it would depend upon what people you have in the line and what panel they're trying to get into. But also, Duncan Jones came out and handed out Twinkies.
Nice.
To people in the line, which was quite nice.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, Duncan Jones.
Talk to him about his dad, but because it doesn't get asked about that enough, I'm sure.
I would have talked to him about what he was thinking with the CGI for the Warcraft trailer.
They still got like 5 months. They could maybe make it better. But yeah, you were in the middle of either. Do you want to do either Geoff Johns? Let's do Geoff Johns as a shorter.
Yeah, let's save the time for last. So Geoff Johns, we hear that Geoff Johns is around the booth. Also, really quick about Grant Morrison, like he is the new head editor in chief of Heavy Metal magazine, and so there's a moment where we found out too late that he was hanging out at the Heavy Metal booth like for a while. And there was like, yeah, he was just hanging out. There wasn't that much of a line. Like, he was just signing stuff. And that would have been so cool because that would have been a cool moment to meet, again, Grant Morrison. But he was kind of a mystery after that. We couldn't really see him anywhere. We tried to...
He probably just vanished.
Yeah. Well, we went by the Heavy Metal booth one more day. No, that was the same day that we checked it, like when I inadvertently ran into Fall Stanley. And anyway, so Geoff Johns, we heard, was doing like a signing or something at the DC panel, DC booth. So Sam and I had some free time, and we walked around, and he wasn't there. We're like, okay. And then we got separated because we walked by...
It's fucking bananas.
Well, it's bananas, but we walked by the DC TV thing when they were like, announcing everyone and walking down the stairs, and like just stopped, and we saw, what's his name, the Penguin...
Robin Lord Taylor.
Yeah, he had his phone out, and he was like, yeah, what's up, guys? Yeah, he was like freaking out. But so I was like, you know what? Sam's a big boy. He'll find his way back. I'm cutting this way. And whatever. It's we knew
that we never saw Sam.
Yeah. When I'm walking Comic-Cons and like people just stop in the middle of the fucking walkway, I become like the worst person I can possibly be.
Same.
Yeah. It's
my inner New Yorker comes out at conventions, and I just I shoulder check people.
Yeah. But
because it's annoying.
But while we're separated,
while we're separated, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do one final little lap. Because I as much as I love San Diego Comic-Con, I loved working the booth more than I did walking around. Like, I loved working the image booth. It was a great time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to do one more, pass, because really the only panel or the booth I ever like hang out outside of the image thing and spend money as the 2000 AD panel, like for the Dredd stuff and Rogue Trooper and everything.
Yeah, and you met Carlos Square.
Yeah, I met the freaking co-creator of Judge Dredd. The only signing I was like, I have to go to. And he's a trooper, man. He was there 11 to 1 every day doing a signing. And, he's an older guy, too. But he just, a lot of these other guys are like, oh, signings, get good done, get out of here.
Yeah, I'll charge you $20.
Yeah, and he was there, man. Like, I paid $20 for, like, the exclusive poster that he drew for San Diego Comic-Con. And it's cool. I got the shirt, too, with Dredd, like, busting out. And he has his hand up with the Dredd badge. And the cool thing is the way it's drawn right where the badge would be if you're wearing like the Dredd outfit. So it looks like it's wearing the badge, and it's original by Carlos Square. So they had it's for $20. I got like the print, and he signed it. And when I was waiting in line, he had his notepad open, and I wasn't like, "Can you do a sketch?" I was just like, "Are you doing sketches?" Because I'd pay whatever money, because how many times are you going to be able to meet the guy who created the design for Judge Dredd? You know what I mean? Like. And is responsible for some of the greatest stories of all time from Judge Dredd. basically the Bob Kane if Bob Kane actually did something for Batman. But
So the Bill Finger.
yeah. But let me reiterate, Carlos Esquerra is a million times more influential and more important than Bob Kane. That's just a funny comparison I did. But anyway,
I liked it.
Carlos Esquerra, he looks up at me and I was like, "Are you doing signings?" And he goes, "I'll do a sketch for you." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay." So he takes this pad and he goes out and he starts like doing that thing that like all artists do, where have a pencil and just kind of starts doing just scribbles, and you don't see it yet, but they know in their mind that's where the great artists they are. And you start to see, and he did it in 5 minutes, but you start to see over a couple minutes, you're like, "Oh shit, that's the helmet, dude. He's drawing Judge Dredd's fucking helmet right in front of you." And then you see, and he has a very distinct way of drawing the nose and the mouth for Dredd. Like you can tell a Carlos Esquerra Dredd whenever you see it. And the little mouth is there. I was like, "Oh shit!" But then he starts drawing the eagle, like the eagle on his shoulder, and I was like, "There's the fucking eagle," and it's just all coming together like this amazing thing. And then he writes, he signs it again on top, and Carlos Esquerra, San Diego Comic-Con, and then he's like, "Oh, what's your name?" And I was like, "Oh," I didn't know my name, so I had my badge. I was like, "Here, this is it." He's like, "Image Comics."
Do you know
yeah.
Cisco?
Yeah. And so he's like, "Okay," and he's like, "Jake," and he writes, to Jake at San Diego Comic-Con on the thing, and then rips it out. I was like, "Here you go." Doesn't charge anything, it's just like, "Here you go." I was like, "Holy shit." I was like so giddy, man. Like I was just like, "I'm walking on stage." I was like skipping back to the Image booth, and the Image booth is pretty close to 2000 AD booth.
So it was only like 5 skips.
Yeah, I was like, ha,
So
look at this.
You basically saw life created before your eyes.
I did. I mean, I saw Judge Dredd created. The crazy thing is, that's not the only time I saw a famous Judge Dredd artist draw Judge Dredd. I saw Jock draw. I was helping with the signing. They'd pull you aside sometimes at Image, the Image people, to be like, "Yo, stand there with the iPad, so if they're going to buy a trade that we're selling, they can buy it right there in front of you and then immediately get it signed, as opposed to going to the booth first."
That's nice.
Yeah, it was. And so I did a couple, and with some really cool guys, but then they were like, for the Witches, they did Witches signing. "Here, you're going to sit here next to fucking Scott Snyder and Jock."
Ooh.
And you're going to, and I was like, "Okay." And so Jock and them are like signing, and like it's a super long line, the first real like intense crazy line we had. And there was like a lull for a second, and I was standing next to Jock, and Jock looks up at me and he was just like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I was like, "I love Judge Dredd." And he was like, "You like Judge Dredd too?" And I was like, and he's super British, and I was like, "Yeah, man." So we just talked about Judge Dredd. And then one of the coworkers at Image was getting Witches signed for one of her friends. Like she loves I guess Jock and Scott Snyder. And when she was explaining to Jock about how much her friend loves Judge Dredd, she's like, she loves the Dredd you've drawn. And he goes, "Do you want me to draw it inside the book?" And inside my head I'm going, "Yes, say yes. I want to see Jock draw Dredd. Holy crap." And I think she was kind of like, "I don't know, it's weird to draw Dredd inside of a Witch's book." You know what I mean? But he's like, "No, I can draw Dredd." So he draws, Dredd's head inside the Witch's book. And I was like, "I just saw Jock draw Judge Dredd. Holy crap." And then, Scott Snyder was there too. And, Sam and I both got a chance to like hang out with Scott Snyder for a couple of minutes and talk to him.
He's
about,
pretty cool to hang out
Oh, he
with.
was so cool. Like, and I had never, I'm big fan of his, but I'd never even seen him at a con before. And so I got a moment. I was just like, "Hey, Scott," and talked to him about stuff. And he was really appreciative. I love when creators, they pull out their phone or iPad and they show you like stuff that hasn't come out yet or whatever.
Oh,
or
yeah.
like, "Yo, check this out.
When I was still working at Midtown Comics, Scott Snyder came by I think it was when he and Jim Lee were promoting Superman Unchained.
Okay.
But he whips out his phone. He's like, "Hey, you want to see some of the things that Greg Capullo sent me for the next couple issues of Batman?" It was right when Batman Year 1 or Year 0 was going.
Year.
So he was So he was sifting through, just showing sketches of like run down Gotham and like the Bat bike and the 0 year bat suit and stuff like that. And I was just like, "Oh."
It's so cool because they're just they're really excited to show you stuff, And so anyway, getting to Geoff Johns finally. Our mind's all over the place. It's just a fucking adventure of a week. But I walk as I'm doing my final lap. I pass by the DC booth one more time, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take a look at the suits one more time, just see if there's anyone around. And I see Geoff Johns, and he's doing one of those things where like it's the interviews like with the San Diego Comic-Con backdrop, and they just are having press go in and interview 5 minute round. He just stands there and does it, and he looks like Geoff Johns. Here's the weird thing. It's going to sound really weird. I remember my first thought was, dude, he's fucking jacked.
Yes.
Like he's in really good shape.
He is.
Here's the even more weirder thing. So I don't think this is on camera because the camera is focused like straight ahead, just to the San Diego backdrop, and the press guy and Geoff Johns. But if anyone else happened to be videotaping for any reason, what they would see is a guy in an Image shirt, like walking back and forth. Because I thought maybe just like walking back and forth, like Geoff Johns, holy shit, Geoff Johns, like, you're my favorite current day Superman writer, Geoff Johns, and you're just fucking awesome. And we just found out you're going to be co-writing the Batman movie with Ben Affleck. Like, holy crap!
How did Lois Lane survive at the end of the first Superman movie?
Yeah. And so, then here's the weirder thing. This is going to sound so weird. I realized I was staring at his ass.
I mean, what else are you going to stare at?
I realized I was
him?
staring at Geoff Johns' ass, and like it just kept going through my mind. I was like, "The guy's like in shape, man." Like that's all I could see going through my
Look
mind.
at that ass.
Like most of the time, like when I see like a creator or writer, I'm thinking of like, oh, the great work they've done. And I was thinking about Geoff Johns, of course, like the great Superman run he just did recently, and the Justice League's still doing really well, and all the good work he's doing with DC for TV and the media stuff. But like I was just staring at his ass. I was like, holy shit. So then I immediately came to my senses. I was like, that's enough of that. I need to go back to the image.
That's enough John's ass.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was the same day, but towards the end of the day, one of the image rooms was occupied. And I had my backpack in there, and we wanted to get it out because we were going to Eisner's that night, and we had our nice shirts inside. That's how classy we are. We had our nice collared shirts inside, and we're going to switch into them.
Our nice comic book image shirts.
Yeah, and so it had gotten around from the image people that Sam and I were big Todd McFarlane fans. We couldn't kind of contain our excitement, and of course, Todd McFarlane was the president of Image Comics. So there was a good chance he'd be around. And
we had seen him earlier
that day. He did a signing at the Skybound Annex.
Yeah,
and this is a dude, and we'll get to it more when we talk about meeting him, but this is a guy who like went out of his way to sign for everything for everybody. Like still to this day, like the dude's like 25 years at least into the business, and he's still like, well, if the line's done, he will go and find the person and take a picture with them. Like he's top notch kind of dude in that sense. And this was a great example at the con, and of course Sam can attest to this too. You got to see the creators who really go out of their way to make it the best experience possible for the fan that's coming through and getting it signed. Like so many great examples of it. There's one or two where they're kind of like probably having a bad day maybe. And we're not going to say their names obviously, but and again, it wasn't like a monumental like fuck you, but they're probably just having, they were tired or something. But for the majority, you got to see like them really, be grateful for everything that the fans gave to him. And Todd McFarlane was no exception. So anyway, at the end of the day, we're cleaning up, and it's pretty quick to close up shop. I mean,
just hang drapes over whatever.
Yeah, put the books down, hang
and
drapes, get your stuff together, plug in the iPads, and then because we're not working for Image, obviously they're not going to have us mess with the money, so we're not counting in the money or anything.
Yeah,
and finding the occupied door, like so you can go in and get it. Luckily, I didn't rush in right when it was occupied because Todd McFarlane was in there at a meeting. Mm-hmm. And so he comes out, and I was like, oh, shit. And the first thing that went through my mind was how awkward it would have been if I just rushed in. I didn't realize it was occupied to grab my backpack.
Sign,
and just walked in, and he was there looking at me for this meeting. And just
you're banned from Image forever.
Yeah.
You can never buy any of our comics.
Fuck. Yeah, who the fuck are you? And just banishes me to hell.
And suddenly all your Spawn comic books just burst into flames.
I'm in hell with Wanda. And
Wanda!
So we're doing our thing, getting ready. I got my backpack. We're kind of getting ready to go. And Jeremy, who became a really good friend of ours from the Image, who's the head of digital sales there, and was a big reason for – not a big reason. He is basically the reason Spawn is available digital. So I thanked him profusely for that because I was like, dude, now we can like read Spawn really easy now. And so he was talking to Todd McFarlane about stuff because he'd been talking to him a lot about getting Spawn, digital sales and making everything work. And he sees me and he goes, hey, Jake, come over here. I want you to meet somebody. And when I turn, I look and I realize I'm about to meet Todd McFarlane. And so I have my backpack on. I immediately turn into like a 3-year-old, like walking to the bus stop. And I'm like, ha, 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 like, like bobbling over. And I'm freaking out, And Tom McFarlane turns and he goes, I think he might have called him Todd because, he works with them. Or, he was like, hey, Todd, this is Jake. He's a volunteer. Works at a comic shop on the East Coast, and he's a big Spawn fan. He loves Spawn 250. And as he's saying that, Spawn, I might as well call him Spawn. Tom McFarlane reaches his hand back and does like the classic, like bam, like really in good shape too.
The Predator handshake.
Yeah, grabs my hand, shakes, and he's looking at me, kind of looking at me, and he's shaking my hand really hard.
He's Jake, going, you son of a bitch.
And he's going 250, And I was like, I was shaking his hand. I was like, oh, Mr. McFarlane, like it's my favorite issue of the year so far. Still, like it's so great. And then my mind went to this place that I never thought would ever go. And I decided what I'm going to do in front of Todd McFarlane is act out my favorite scene in Spawn 250 in front of the guy who wrote it. And so my immediate thing is I turn on the Chris Farley from SNL and I go, hey, Mr. McFarlane, remember in Spawn 250 when Spawn comes back and like all the bugs are around, it's all the evil, and all of a sudden you turn the page and he comes back from the dead and you just see his boot hit the ground and go boom. And he looks at me when I go boom with my boot and I make that sound and I hit the ground with my boot. And he looks at me, locks eyes, and he starts shaking his head like, yes, yes. And then I go, and then he goes boom with the other foot. And when I go boom this time, he goes boom with me. And then I go, and then the chains hit the ground and go clack, and he goes clack. And he totally goes poof. And that's when I feel like if there was ever gonna if it was ever gonna be a 5-minute conversation or like a longer, he was like, okay, like that opened the door, like it got him jazzed, right? Because he had a dinner he had to go to, he had somewhere he had to be. And my thing was thinking it was just going to be a 5-minute, and this would have been fine too, like totally fine. But 5-minute quick hello, thanks for working for Image, I appreciate it. See you later.
Read Spawn.
Yeah, and so then he goes, and for the next, Sam comes over and meets him too, and for the next like 30 minutes, I'm telling you, like the con is closed. They're turning the lights off on us, right? But who the fuck's gonna come up and be like, oh, Todd McFarlane, get out, He'd just be like, fuck you, and just banish them to hell.
Yeah, he has a very particular way of saying the word. Fuck.
It's like cocking a shotgun and then firing it.
Fuck.
That's how he says fuck a lot.
A lot.
He's really, really passionate about Spawn. Again, I can't think of another comic book character in recent memory who owns the character like he owns Spawn and still loves the character so much and cares about the character so much and reads every script that's written about the character even if he's not writing it. And has he's so still so influential in the character even if he's not writing the character. And he's telling us how much he loves Spawn, and just
how much the character means to him.
Still to this day, and
how he wants to make sure that he's wants very much to make sure that character comes off right.
Yeah. I mean, it's very much still his mind. He's like, that's not how that would work for Spawn. No, this is how this would happen with Spawn. And he's just telling us these stories, and he's acting out Spawn moments in front of us, that his favorite Spawn stuff, and just going totally nuts. And Sam and I are both looking, and there's a picture that Jeremy took. We just have like smiles on our faces because like this is. And at one point, I started laughing. I just looked at him. I was like, "This is fucking badass." Like, and I was looking at him, and he's just like going and going and going, telling these stories, and then the lights are like really like seriously turning off, and he starts walking out. And we think again, he's looking at his watch. He only looked at his watch at one time. It wasn't like he kept looking like, oh fuck this. He looked at his watch once.
Yeah, how much? He
just looked at his watch once, and it was one of those quick little like he looked at it really quick, and he was still talking to us. And he thanked us. He was like, "Hey, thank you guys for working for Image, for the Image booth. I really appreciate it." And then we walk out together. And so this is this real surreal moment. We're walking out of San Diego Comic-Con by ourselves with Todd McFarlane. Like no one else is around us. And
that alone is worth paying $600 round trip.
Yeah, just walking out there, and we're just shooting the shit with Todd McFarlane. And Sam, asks him, about baseball. Because Todd McFarlane is a massive baseball fan. And so you ask him about, the All-Star break and who he thinks, who's the team to watch for. And
tell him about the rare baseballs at our hotel.
Yeah, that was the only time we kind of like stumped him because, we were staying at the Omni Hotel and they had this great, on the 4th floor, right by the escalator, they had this great row of old baseballs and old like Padres uniforms and stuff. Like baseballs from the 1800s, 1880s.
Because the Omni's connected to Petco Park.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, really? Oh, wow. And so we're walking out and we're talking about stuff. And he's, oh, my brother's a Nationals fan. He was an Expos fan back in the day. I like the Nats, blah, blah, blah. Oh. All that kind of stuff. And then we get to a stopping point. And again, hindsight is 20/20. But he goes, which way are you guys going? And we had to go to the right. He had to go to the left. I don't know why we said the right. We could have kept just going with the left.
We would have fucked it up.
We would have. But no, I mean, I think the honest reason was I was like,
which way you going?
I honestly think that it was like one of those things where I was like, this is so cool what just happened. Let's just end it on a high note.
Right.
And we're like, well, we're going this way, and he goes, yeah, I got, a thing I got to go to over here, blah, blah, blah. And he turns one more time and he goes, and again, like hardcore handshake, like, thank you guys for what you're doing, blah, blah, blah.
His handshake is as firm as his fuck.
Yeah. He's got Capullo-sized arms.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Capullo's jacked. If you've never seen Greg Capullo, he's collaborated.
By the way,
on Spawn.
all these comic book creators, they're all
jacked. They're on
a fair amount.
Yeah.
And
write
so again,
comics and I work out.
And so
he's got the home gym,
he shakes your hand.
My arms swole from signing all these autographs.
And he just was gone. He just walked away. And I remember we started walking away, and we were silent for a second, and Sam was like, "Is that the highlight?" I was like, "Yes, that was the fucking highlight, dude. Like, there's nothing better than that." Like,
the entire con just built up to that.
I mean,
moment.
I was hoping that we get a chance to meet him because, you know, again, he's so linked with Image Comics that, like, you know, oh, if we can even see him, that'd be so cool. It's Todd McFarlane.
And then your head exploded.
And then, you know, we got to talk to him uninterrupted for 30 minutes, you know, about a character that he loves so much, you know. And the passion was so intense. Like, it was so intense, man. Like, you know, even like us being Spawn fans, and even the biggest Spawn fan in the world, which we aren't, you know, because I haven't read everything of Spawn, but like,
I was inspired. I did buy a shitload of Spawn on Comixology after it.
But even like the biggest Spawn in the world, biggest Spawn fan in the world, doesn't come close to the passion that Todd McFarlane has. And
he really does treat it like his baby.
Yeah, it's it's inspiring to see that, because again, this is a dude who's been in it for 20 some. He's been doing Spawn for like 22, 20
first issue
21,
came out in
22 years.
94, so yeah, 21 years.
And he's probably just as passionate, if not more now. And that was really cool to see. And again, you know, just all the you know, we got to meet and see all these people. And again, you know, we've said it a million times on Facebook and to their in person to them, but like, it's all thanks to Corey especially, and Image Comics for like helping us do that, because like, you know, we got to live like fucking rock stars because of them, and it was just like, it was the coolest thing. And we had a blast doing it. We had an absolute blast working the booth, and
yeah, I mean, getting me to sell comic books isn't twisting my arm.
It's not, but again, it's different than working in a comic shop.
Yeah.
And, you know, and working in a comic shop doesn't suck by any means, but there's just something about the con atmosphere that's different, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, it was a good oasis from like the hustle and bustle.
It was, and again, you know, it's just there's that something in the air that people are excited to be there, and you know, you have to keep reminding yourself, like, we've all been in different cons before.
Yeah,
but like kind of pinch me moment where you'd stop, because when you're in the booth at Image, and it's a big booth, you're kind of like in this little cell.
Like, I always thought of it like a fort.
Yeah, it is like this little fort. When you I was on the left side of the booth a lot, so I kind of could see like the side and the entrance and stuff. And
I like to go on that side because I could see the Star Wars booth from there.
The Star Wars booth was playing all the original trailers and stuff. But like
including Revenge of the
Jedi, yeah. Ooh. And so we're looking around, and for a moment you look out and you really see how big it is. But you have to kind of pinch yourself, like, this is cool, like, this is San Diego Comic-Con, you know? And it really is. I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, the only other way I do San Diego Comic-Con again is to work the Image booth.
I couldn't do it, like, as a fan.
I don't know if I could.
Well, I mean, as a fan this year, it was definitely a lot less crowded on the floors.
Was it?
Even on Saturdays. Like, I could get through no issue at all.
It hit its bubble.
Well, I mean, that makes me wonder what it was like. Like, so was it just like a standstill like last year or something?
Yeah, last year was basically you couldn't get anywhere unless you walked outside. But and speaking of it feeling like a fort, there were a lot of booths, funny enough, where the line guards were kind of like very, very antagonistic to people trying to buy wares from the booths. Even so much at the Funko booth, they were like, "Hey kids, there's a convention going on that way. Go away, go see other stuff. Don't even bother trying to come back and give us your money."
Jeez. I mean, then they made all their con exclusive stuff available day of at Hot Topic, didn't they?
No, not everything,
but a good chunk.
Yeah, well, there were things like the Unmasked Jason, the Batman vs Superman sets.
I didn't even see that. I didn't
couldn't
see
even
any
get.
Waste of exclusivity then.
I didn't see any
Probably
Batman
more
vs
for
Superman pop figures. I thought at least I'd see some people carrying them around, but I didn't see any.
Oh no,
there were people that went fucking bananas for the
Yeah,
exclusives.
if you saw someone holding one, good chance a couple minutes later they'd be stabbed and they wouldn't have their exclusive with them anymore.
See, that's why you go and you work at a booth.
Our buddy Alex stopped by, and he had what I thought was really freaking cool. It was like the Ant-Man, kind of like a Loot Crate Ant-Man thing, but inside it was
the Collector Corp.
Yeah, it was an unmasked Ant-Man what came with it was the world's smallest pop, which was a tiny, like less than an inch size Ant-Man pop figure.
That was
really cool.
Collector's Core booth right across the way from the Funko one, which is the one they have set up with Marvel.
It was cool.
Yeah, they were selling that one, which was the most current month, and then they were teasing the next one, which was going to be Lady Thor.
The thing that I enjoyed working the booth. Let me just say that. But the thing that I was kind of like, come on. we were right in between the Skybound booth, which is the publishing line and production company that handles The Walking Dead, basically all the Kirkman properties.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Invincible.
Invincible is the other one in Outcast. And McFarlane Toys was on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So people would come to us just vehement,
Yeah.
looking for the exclusives from both of those. And it's like, no, but it says it's Image. Yeah, there are sister companies.
Well, it's really funny. One of my favorite things was, and this didn't happen a lot, but it happened a couple times, which was pretty funny, was when Todd McFarlane was doing this Skybound Annex signing, he had tweeted, go to... I didn't see the actual tweet, but I'm assuming it was like go to the Todd McFarlane Walking Dead booth and say Wanda, and you'll get like a Spawn pin. And so these guys were like coming up to the Image booth going Wanda, Wanda, and I was going like what
I'm sitting there holding like stacks of sex criminals, like unloading them on the counter. I'm just like,
yeah, I'm like what? And he goes, Todd McFarlane said to say Wanda, you got a pin, and I was like, oh, and then we found out eventually it was you have to go to the McFarlane side.
Well, thankfully, Chris tweeted to me of one day of what ThinkGeek was doing something similar like that, and thankfully I was able to get a Star Wars pin from that.
Nice. I wasn't sure if any of the I tweeted a couple things that I saw at you, and I was hoping that at least one would work for you.
Well, thankfully, ThinkGeek is always so goddamn well hidden.
Yeah.
That when I got there, like, oh yeah, shit, no, we have a bunch of these still left.
Can I have them all?
Did you check out the Halo 5 display at all?
No, I did not go over to the Grand
Far
Hyatt Xbox booth at all, or the little setup they had in the convention floor. And this is something else. Also, a lot of these most recent years, Comic-Con keeps reorganizing the floor space of where people are going to be. So you have this idea in your mind of where they're going to be next year. And for a few years that was the same, but in these most recent ones, Warner Brothers and Marvel keeps getting pushed further down to the right. Almost to where the independent press and like the people selling comics,
I mean,
like
they were
back
right,
issues are.
Yeah, they were right in between like heavy metal, or right next to heavy metal and Archie.
Right, whereas the past few years, they were more over to the left, closer to the Hall H, and were like Artist Alley is set up now.
They probably wanted to help spread out the crowds because they knew that there were going to be a lot of people there for the, all that stuff. And they were like, well, let's get those booths way out of the way of Hall H because we all know that Hall H is where everyone goes.
Yeah.
I was
Let's
surprised.
make sure people walk the floor.
Yeah.
I was surprised, and I shouldn't have been, how small, relatively speaking, Artist Alley was compared to, say, like New York, where it has its own
its own
floors.
Yeah, that was
area.
always that's always been the same case, unfortunately. But
Well, I mean, San Diego Comic-Con is more about just
again,
like selling stuff.
I shouldn't have
versus-
been.
Yeah,
I shouldn't.
yeah,
have been.
although the most probably
shame on you, Sam.
dumbstruck thing I managed to get done for this con was walking outside of the con to go meet a friend, and got somehow invited to go to Conan's very first show at Comic-Con.
Still on my DVR. Still haven't watched it yet.
I need to see that because my mom made the mistake of not recording his very first show there
Did you
to
go?
see me.
Did you go to the Fear the Walking Dead exhibit across the street? It said Fear.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. No, I have never actually been to that, but I have been to the Escape the Walking Dead event they had at Petco Park, which is always a blast if you ever get a chance to go to it. It's basically a obstacle course that runs you through a demilitarized town.
Yeah, as much shit as I always give San Diego Comic-Con, just because I don't really like it, I am super jealous of like things like that because like New York Comic-Con like doesn't do those big like obstacle course events.
There's no way in the city to set any of that shit up.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
not really, no.
Yeah.
Not especially not in like where they do their convention.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Unless they rented out some of the piers a couple blocks up.
or unless they convinced the people to stop building hotels and apartment buildings in those big. There are a couple giant open lots in that general area, but they're all already owned and being constructed upon.
Yeah, but it was nice being a part of a Conan show for my very first time. and just seeing how the show is taped, getting to see Elijah Wood, Chris Hardwick, and Seth get killed by Conan with a lightsaber.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got to see him do his live comedy show, the thing that he did in between the Tonight Show and
legally prohibited from being funny tour.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
They came to DC and I got to go, and he basically was doing like a concert version of his show. Because it wasn't like he was like making fun of the fact that like all he's ever done, quote unquote, all he's ever done is that show. So like even like a live concert still has to be kind of in the same formula of his the Tonight Show or whatever.
He is fucking tall.
Yes, he is almost my height.
He is,
and he's lanky, so he looks taller than I am.
Yeah, he is a gigantic Irish goofball.
Pale and like hair like shredded carrots.
Yes. Now in Funko form.
Yeah, yes. multiple forms, Funko. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks, like Jake was saying, thanks to Image Comics for giving us the opportunity to help out.
And here's for hoping for more in the future.
Yeah, God, yeah. Hopefully.
Until we finally get recognized as proper press and can get our own passes that way.
Someday.
Yeah.
We still got another 2,000 downloads before we can even try.
Yeah.
I assume, I don't know. We can always give it a try 1 year. And
we tried for a special
awesome
edition.
Con. I tried for Awesome Con.
Did you? Oh, I didn't try for Awesome
Clearly
Con.
that didn't work.
Yeah.
But,
clearly it didn't work for special edition either.
Yeah. I think we're on track to hit 3,500. Break 3,500 by the end of the month.
Huzzah.
Well, I did also meet a whole bunch of content creators while I was out there and get our names out to them and possible interview
Did you pass
opportunities.
out my business cards?
I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have that much opportunity, but I did name drop quite a bit.
There you
go. So hopefully,
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think there's two big things that came out of it, and we've kind of already alluded to both of them. What did you guys think of the Batman v Superman trailer?
There were a lot of really interesting things I saw of it. They keep teasing a bit that some of the events that take place from the trailer are going to be what-if scenarios. Like, we'll possibly get, if Superman actually does decide to become a force that takes over the planet and has, a standing army, and Batman trying to continue through his years fight this oppression.
To me, I know what you're talking about with the army thing. It seemed almost like he almost had a military that just decided to devote themselves to him. Not necessarily that he formed it, but they kind of came to him. Kind of like what happens in the comics. After the death of Superman, there's a whole bunch of people that start worshiping him like a god.
Right. The desert scene where we see desert suit Batman trying to fight a bunch of armed guards.
Yeah. I got a big nerd boner for seeing Ben Affleck, rescue that little girl while the buildings were presumably during the battle from Man of Steel.
Yes. It looks like they're alluding to that the building where they're flying around in, and Zod starts using his heat vision from the inside. Yes, is Wayne Financial.
Yeah, in Metropolis.
Yeah, and that he gets a phone call from people inside the building. They're like, "Oh dear God, we're gonna die. Come save us."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the most Batman thing that happened in the trailer without him wearing a Batman suit. Is that shot of everyone running away from the destruction
and him running
into it.
Yeah,
that was so cool.
It looks like we're gonna get a fight between not only Mecha Batman and Superman, but a fight between him, Wonder Woman, and Superman, all three fighting each other.
I'm still trying to figure out how they've, I'm going to say, not pigeonholed, kind of shoehorned Wonder Woman into this story.
They make it look like her and, both alter egos of them know each other, and that they both kind of try to team up to take on Superman.
Here's my theory. Again, no, insider
No
knowledge.
insider, yeah.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane didn't tell me anything about this, unfortunately. Or Jim Steranko.
Grant Morrison didn't just beam it to you.
Yeah, with his telepathic powers. We see Zod's body in the trailer.
Yes.
I presume that means they either use that body to test kryptonite and or use the DNA to create their own form of doomsday.
Ooh.
That is possible.
I mean, they alluded to Doomsday in the prequel comic to Man of Steel.
I feel like that's what all three of them have to unite against at the end of the film.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But they show that the kryptonite is possibly coming from salvage of the world engine.
Yeah. And you know who I'm not really sold? The only thing I'm not really sold on in the Batman v Superman trailer?
Lex Luthor.
Exactly.
Ugh, that every time he came on screen, I was like, I hate you.
I feel bad.
I've hated the idea of Jesse Eisenberg being Lex Luthor since the get-go, and the trailer is just solidifying that I was correct in my distaste.
Well, I enjoy his style. The very apparent wig he's wearing in it is kind of similar to what
Gene Hackman.
yes, did throughout the entire first Superman movie
Which is
he was
funny
in,
because
where
that was his actual hair.
yanks it off
Because
at
he
the end.
refused to shave his head.
Oh, yeah, it looks like Eisenberg had no issues with
Yeah.
it. But I kind of feel
I
bad
mean,
for
I
him
wouldn't.
during the panel, though, because he legitimately looked extremely uncomfortable.
I mean, that's also just him.
He
I feel
also-
like he's always uncomfortable.
He also compared Comic-Con to some sort of genocide.
yeah, well, I've also heard rumors that apparently he's like an individual that has things like OCD and such. And so seeing the outpour in the Hall H kind of just made him feel extremely uneasy.
Oh yeah, no, I can totally picture him being the kind of person that's like has no desire to be anywhere close to anything like that.
Yeah, and again, I completely know what it's like being forced to go up on a massive stage like that, and we've seen so many people that it's just like, I really wish I'm not here.
I've been
Is
there
there a
for
bar
those.
nearby?
I've been there for those moments.
Yeah,
Some
yes.
of them at least.
Yes.
The it also looks like the thing that got Bruce Wayne to retire was the Joker killing
Yeah.
Robin, as we see the Robin suit with the Joker graffiti still on it.
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Robin.
yes. They kind of allude to that would be like his Jason Todd.
That would be
Although,
a believable thing for
Though I
me.
think it's Dick Grayson in this version of it.
yeah, it might be. They don't. I mean, we don't know who that Robin was, but it obviously was
knows, they might
one
not
with a
even name him.
staff.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan apparently can't stay alive in a Zack Snyder film.
Yeah, when I saw that scene, I was like, oh my god, he's playing Papa Wayne. That is so awesome.
Yeah, not for him.
Oh, well, yeah.
So you guys might have known this because you pay attention to things, but I had no idea that Jeremy Irons was playing Alfred. And like watching that trailer, I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah, he looks a bit like a Commissioner Gordon, though.
He does. Well, I mean, yeah, it's Jeremy Irons.
Yeah.
But like I was just I was having like a dorkgasm for Jeremy Irons' performance in that trailer.
For the panel, he came out looking like a monk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's a weird guy.
Yeah, it was quite apparent by the clothing he was wearing.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's my favorite John McClane villain.
Yeah.
You know, he's other things that he's been in I really like.
Yeah.
He's my favorite evil lion.
Yeah.
I liked him in The Mission with Robert De Niro. That was cool.
I'd probably like that if I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite Die Hard.
Yeah. Certainly my favorite sequel. Jake, what did you think of it?
I mean, I loved it. I mean, the first time it became official, I was checking Facebook just for other things when I was at the booth, and like it popped up. I was like, oh shit! And it started playing without any sound, and even without sound, I got about as far as Ben Affleck saving everybody, which is pretty early on, and that scene happened just with no sound, and I was like, holy shit!
I feel like that scene could be amazing without sound.
Oh yeah, and so we watched it. We had just enough time when we went back to the room. We watched the trailer real quick, and we went back downstairs to go out. And it's funny because Superman doesn't say a word the entire trailer. Clark Kent does. He says something about the Bat Vigilante, blah, blah, blah. And Perry White's like, no one cares about Clark Kent versus Batman. But Superman himself, we don't see him say a word the entire trailer.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. He's silent. I do like seeing the action sequences between him. I did. There's a shot in. I can show you guys later. That because I like analyzed this trailer like a mother effer after it was over. I was like, oh, look at this. But there was a shot that I freeze framed a shot where I feel like it was a reference to The Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
And with the lightning.
Oh yeah.
And we got to see enough of them fighting and kicking ass, and it was great to see. I knew they were going to do it, but it was great to finally see Wonder Woman in action. because I've been, I think
multiple shots.
Yeah, and to see her, kick some serious ass too, and to see Alfred, like in the flesh, and it's just I thought it was so cool. I could stop watching it, man. I had the biggest smile on my face because, I'm such a obviously we're all big fans of this, but I'm such a fan of finally seeing this happen and to see Superman on screen again because problems or not, with Man of Steel, I feel like Henry Cavill is the perfect big screen Superman.
I agree. He's doing a great job.
And
with them,
it's just there's so many great little moments. I love, and I know some people were like, "Oh, the Ma Kent moment where she's like, you don't owe them anything," and some people were taking that as the should I have saved them? And he's like, maybe, I don't know, in the Man of Steel, and Pa Kent's like, maybe you shouldn't have saved them. But I feel like that's such a great moment for she's being a mother in that moment. Like she's seeing her son get shit on by everybody for being blamed for destroying the world when he was actually saving it. And that's such a moment where she's like, you don't owe these people anything. She's not saying fuck them, kill the world, but she's saying you don't owe them anything. And I love the look that Henry Cavill gives. It's like a quizzical look he gives her, and almost a smile on his face. And so it's nice to know that he's still going to be visiting home, and Ma Kent's still going to have a partner, because that's such a great thing for him to go back to that. You can always go back home. Like that's what hopefully everyone can. You can have the thing where no matter how shitty it gets, even if the world is accusing you of destroying the world when you're even saying that, you can always go home. And have that little piece. It just you get to see the bat suit a lot more in motion. There's a great shot of Batman like knocking out like 3 dudes in like a second. When they have the load with the guns, he's in the desert suit. They released a great picture like the day after or 2 days after. You just get to really see him throw down, and like the ultimate Batman versus Superman like shot is when Superman rips open the Batmobile, and Batman just stands up like a boss, like really slow, and they're just staring at each other. I was like, oh shit. But I loved it. And I can't wait. The only problem is once the trailer's over, you're like, well, that's the most information I'm going to see until it comes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just got to wait and wait.
Yeah, because we're probably not going to get another big trailer.
They might have one more in some TV spots, go crazy. But I mean, in terms of trailers,
it's all spoilers from here.
Yeah. We'll probably get something like close to the end of the year with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be attached to it or something.
Yeah, that's probably it in terms of the summer.
But speaking of Batman and trailers, he shows up one more time in another trailer that we can talk about, which is Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that trailer looks fucking awesome.
The trailer looks awesome. Here's the thing, and this is a recent movie trailer. Can we stop Aria covers of pop hits?
Yeah.
Right?
It's never going to stop.
Oh, I know. I know, just like the one piano note in trailers, like
never gonna stop. Yeah,
is never gonna stop.
Yeah.
Nope.
But again,
it makes me miss the Hans Zimmer horns.
Yeah. But again, it was awkward, like like coming in when Harley Quinn shows up. But like at the same time, like once that kind of happened, I was tracking with the rest of it. But
well, there is.
I oddly enough, I'm gonna side with Sam here and be like, that was what like ruined the trailer for me. I was just like,
I still think it looks cool.
I wanted to mute it. What was the reprise that kept like the joke's on me or something like that?
And the joke is on me.
Yeah, I was like, after the third time of hearing that, I was like, shut the fuck up.
Although we are gonna get the birth of 2 people in that film. We're going to get the birth of, from what I've seen in the trailer, Harley Quinn and the villain they're tracking, the Enchantress. It looks like both of them.
Oh, Kara? Yeah.
Yeah, they come about because we see a shot of the Enchantress like in a cave, like looking like a completely normal person.
Yeah, kind of like Age of Ultron Thor.
Right, and then we see, it looks like the Joker takes over the asylum wherever he's being kept at, captures Dr. Harley Quinzel and tortures the shit out of her.
Now, do we know that? Because from granted, when I was watching it, I was like in my car just watching it on my cell phone, and I haven't watched it since. But like it looked like it was just purely first person perspective. Like I didn't see who he was talking to.
Yeah, no, because there's very quick shots of it looks like she's being bound down to a table that he's walking towards.
Here's the question: is she already Harley at that point, or is she still Harleen?
She's got to still be Harleen at that point, because he's pretty much saying, when he's got like what look like electrodes, saying, "I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you really, really, really bad.
Yeah. And I like his Joker, you know.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I went in just
I always like
it's not going to be bad, but he does a really nice rendition of it.
Yeah. And it's David Ayer, you know, who directed Fury and Sabotage, which is the best Schwarzenegger film since probably, okay, I guess The Expendables 2, but like
Since Eraser.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Maybe Terminator, no.
He wasn't, well,
Yeah.
I don't count that as an appearance I'm sorry, Jesus, I was
Not
thinking
Salvation, yeah,
Sorry.
but the
best Schwarzenegger movie since Terminator Genesis.
yeah.
I do like hearing Amanda Waller reference Superman. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Where she's, there's. I mean, again, it's easy to fucking say that and build it, and oh, we're you connected, but we haven't seen it yet, so it was cool to see that.
Yeah, and also
Some kind of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, he said the thing.
Some kind of Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Some kind of Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
But the one they're talking about in the beginning about who they caught, put in a hole, threw away the hole, has got to be the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Probably still captive since he killed Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene of seeing
If
Batman
everything happens linearly.
Well, yeah, the scene of Batman on top of the car that's being driven by him's probably got to be.
You got insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that point's probably where he captures
My
him.
favorite
and gives him
Harley
to
Quinn
Waller.
moment. My favorite Harley Quinn moment is when they're like doing like their little walk down the thing, and she has her baseball bat, and she goes boom. And I was like, that's such a fucking cool little moment.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gonna be as dark as DC probably gets.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I'm kind of indifferent to it, kind of the same way I feel about Ant-Man right now, which coming out this weekend.
Yeah, so everybody do your homework.
Yeah, but like I don't know, like the trailer didn't really do anything for me, except like I feel like I'm kind of in the minority. Well, a while ago everyone was pissed off about Harley, and now like with the trailer, everybody seems to love this new Harley.
Yep.
I don't like her voice.
Oh yeah.
It's not as high enough for me.
Not as high pitched in Brooklyn-y.
It's not from Canarsie.
Yeah.
I like you, or whatever she says in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. But
we're not going to be friends.
It's like it's a deep Brooklyn accent, and I'm much more of the Arlene Sorkin, I've
like
blanked.
bubblegum Giddles.
Yeah.
Kind of like Schenectady.
Yeah.
Almost upstate.
Yeah, just kind of like a high pitched, like she's having fun with it,
Well, and again,
like a Roger Rabbit.
We haven't seen a whole lot of her talk, so it's possible we might.
It's true.
Get...
Maybe she's just got
But here's the thing, though.
Maybe she's just gruffed up.
Here's the thing, and again, I'm no like Harley.
Enough, that's the thing that pissed me off.
I'm not like a massive Harley fan, but I kind of feel like in a live action setting with what they're doing, her having that high pitched voice would be
nerve-wracking,
idiotic. Like her walking on the street and everyone's like being like that. She's like, Mr. Hey, how's Mr. J? Doing that whole kind of thing, and to be like, shut the fuck up. Like after a while, that'd be so great. And I know that people hold on to that, but it's like.
This is just me. This is just me being.
Speaking
of Harley.
Speaking of Harley Quinn, remember who was behind us on the second to last day of the con, looking at the Star Wars exhibit?
Oh, Bruce Timm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like just hanging out by us. And we're like, I was like, it's Bruce Timm. It's Bruce Timm. And I'm doing like that.
I just turned around and was like, oh, yeah.
And he was just, checking out the Star Wars toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
He also announced what the next DC animated movie is going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Killing Joke.
Are you not excited?
No, I am, but
okay.
it's just a really touching subject in that one.
Oh, well, it's...
Death?
I think he means what happens to Barbara.
Yeah. I just can't wait for all the...
Sorry, I got distracted with, I wonder if they're going to kill the Joker at the end, or if they're going to leave it ambiguous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just can't wait for the massive outrage that everyone's going to be like, oh my god, how could you fucking do that to her? And
Oh
it's
my
like,
god, how
guys,
can the Joker be a psychopath?
Come on.
Yeah.
It was in the comics already. Just tone it down a little bit.
I think that's something they have to tiptoe.
I mean, if they, I feel like, granted, I'm not as sensitive to the subject as other people might be, but I feel like they did a good job of portraying it in the comics.
They actually toned it down from what it originally was. It was a lot more sexually explicit in the comics.
Yeah, and I mean, they've already released the latest one was like Gods and Monsters.
It comes out like the next week or so.
Yeah, and that was already a pretty dark tone for them.
Oh, because it's
reason
like
for
Dark Justice League.
And as animated movies go, because these are things they expect the children to watch.
Yeah. I feel like with stuff like Assault on Arkham and Gods and Monsters, I feel like that's for a more like that's a PG-13 audience.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just because of the subject matter. But yeah, I mean, fuck.
It has assault in the title.
Yeah, and Arkham Knight's
And
rated
Arkham.
M.
Yeah. As opposed to like what the Deadpool movie's going for.
Oh yeah, Red Band baby.
Which, by the way, not first R-rated comic book movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
Well,
I got really annoyed.
hard R rated.
I don't even know if it's the first hard R.
What would you consider the Blades?
I mean, Kick-Ass is a pretty hard R.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Blade, Kick-Ass, Punisher.
Yeah.
Maybe as far as like major comic property goes.
Punisher, Blade.
At the time, Marvel Comics, at his peak, Marvel Comics was publishing 4 Punisher solo series at the same time. He's
including
not.
Punisher Max.
Were they selling well?
Yeah.
You
Well
don't
enough to
give
make a
them
movie.
more titles if they don't sell well. You're not like, oh, this title's failing. Clearly, we need another monthly series.
You know what Psycho Pirate needs? 4 monthly series.
Well, it could happen. Look at
King
Squirrel
Shark.
Girl.
Well, think about that.
Squirrel Girl is amazing.
Squirrel Girl,
I've never even read Squirrel Girl.
I
I love the concept.
genuinely surprised by Squirrel Girl because, and Josh knows this because I talked to him before about this. I was like, look, they're probably going to cancel the fucking series. It's not selling that well. There's rumors they're going to cancel it.
Broke my heart.
It wasn't included with the September
But
like
it's
Marvel
true.
all new, all different announcement. It's not looking good for Squirrel Girl. And then, this, I guess at the end of the weekend, they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to relaunch Squirrel Girl with the same creative team. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess, second chances do happen. But can you please continue Silver Surfer with Mike Allred on art? Because he's awesome. He loves the Beatles.
He does. We have the same
Pink
Bruce
Floyd.
Springsteen song, favorite
Wow.
Bruce Springsteen song, Jungle Land.
How rare someone who loves the Beatles.
Yeah. And draws. But it's the first thing they tell you at like art school. Like, do you like the Beatles? Yes. Next.
So yeah, it looks like of trailers we're waiting to come out now officially will be X-Men Apocalypse, Deadpool.
There's 3 fucking X-Men movies coming out next year. 3 fucking X-Men movies. There's Deadpool, X-Men Apocalypse, and Gambit.
Yeah, we got the title card for Gambit.
Right.
Doesn't look too impressive. It looks a little too
So
much
were
on
you
the
there,
nose.
Were you there for the panel?
Yes.
Did you see Channing Tatum help Stanley? Did you see that meme, that GIF going around of like all the cast members shaking their hands, blah blah blah, and Stanley's trying to get off the stage, and the only person who goes over to help him off the stage is Channing Tatum.
Did
Yeah.
he power slide over to it?
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah," he ripped his shirt off.
Step up.
Yeah. Thought that was cool.
But and we've got next year. We've got Cap and Doctor Strange,
Yep.
and then we've also got Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. So we are
2016 belongs to the comic book.
Oh God, no, not at all.
Also,
what
speaking of,
would the alternative be?
I think
those
he's
are
being
sarcastic. But I feel
There's something that humans do called sarcasm, Sam.
Oh yeah, it always sucks, doesn't it?
Just like
But-
me.
Just like that.
I feel like the most popular cosplay was Mad Max related stuff.
I saw a lot of
Furiosas,
Imperator Furiosas. Yeah.
Yeah.
a Morton Joe. There was the great it was like all female. It was funny because most of a lot of the best characters in Fury Road are female, but it'd be funny like they had a female Morton Joe. Obviously Furiosa was female. They had female Max and female Nux, and I think another female War Boy. But it would have been funny if in that group it would have been a male Furiosa. And, but I mean everyone's doing great.
Furiosa.
Yeah, there you go. The most creative way I saw Furiosa do the hand, thing was she wore a green sleeve on her hand, like it was a green sleeve. I thought that was really fucking clever.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've thought about getting just like a green Zentai suit and putting like white balls over it.
Yeah.
And just be like, ha!
Yeah,
I'm a CGI
anything.
character.
I'm anybody you want me to.
Or just getting yellow contacts and being like, I'm Mystique.
yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Maybe like a couple blue splotches here and there.
There was someone who
Evens
did
that
that.
voice.
There was someone who did a Mystique where they had half their face blue.
I've seen people do
and
stuff
it
like
was
that. It's really cool.
with the contact and stuff.
Yeah, I have to say there was a lot less of cosplaying going on this Saturday and Friday at the con.
Just period, yeah.
Maybe cosplay has hit its tipping point. I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like it's starting to get oversaturated.
It's possible.
Yeah. Especially with the what was it? That one con, like putting a limit on like what you could cosplay.
I hadn't heard about that one.
It was a big news a couple months ago. It was more so like banning booth babes.
Oh yeah.
But like a lot of people took it to be like, oh, so now you're telling us what we can and can't cosplay? And it's like, well, I mean, cons have had dress codes forever.
I always figured
my friends got kicked out of Dragon Con because they had too much butt showing in their Poison Ivy cosplay.
Yeah,
which is funny because it's Dragon Con, the sexy con.
It's weird because I always would have figured the most positive thing you could have done was always like the cosplay is not consent campaign that
which
a few
most
have done.
cons are doing, yeah. But like, but I still feel like this year, like almost like just like a felt a disturbance in the force kind of thing. Like I just felt like a lot of like, especially like people that are like gung ho cosplay, like this year or the previous year, a lot of them were like losing their steam, and they were like, I just want to dress up in a nerdy, outfit, but not actually like cosplay. And like I feel like I've noticed a lot of people starting to wane off it, not necessarily like cut it out and stuff like that, but like kind of be like, it's done its course with me. Kind of like how I feel with like comic book movies. They had their big splash, and then Age of Ultron came out, and it was like,
yeah, luckily you don't have to worry about comic movies for a while, Chris.
Yeah,
yeah, nothing to be disappointed of the next like 20 years.
Right. At least through 2020.
When I saw those timelines come out, like the nerd in me was like, oh boy, but like, but the realistic person, in me was like, oh, they've just shot themselves in the foot by like writing down their commitment for the next 10 years.
Well, that's what I think a lot of actors are kind of worried about, the multi-film deal. Because they kind of feel like imprisoned by it. But
yeah, well, I'm worried that, like, especially now that they're starting to bring in like fringe characters, I'm like, this is where we're going to find out how much people are willing to embrace the unknown. Because like, yeah, like we know who Doctor Strange is, but like the world doesn't know who Doctor Strange is, and I don't know if he's ready for a solo movie before even being introduced.
You could say the same thing about Guardians, though.
I could, and thankfully, that what I just said does not apply for Guardians, because I agree. I had no idea who any of the Guardians were before that movie, and it ended up being my favorite of the MCU.
But that's why they put huge names behind them, like Ant-Man, and they put Paul Rudd behind that,
and originally Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Well, I meant as
sorry, that's
the actors.
Whole, I know, but like the whole thing,
the marquee.
The whole thing with me and Ant-Man is all about Edgar Wright not being a part of it anymore.
Yeah, but I do have a friend who got to go to a press screening already for it, and has said that Edgar Wright's
ghost,
I was gonna say soul, and work on the film is still in there.
And I mean, James Gunn put his stamp of approval on it.
Yeah, well, much like the Deadpool trailer I saw, that entire CGI test footage they did, that entire scene is still in the film.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Cool.
Unedited or like untweaked, or do they spruce it up? Because that's like 5 years old.
Well, as far as I know, I didn't see the decapitation, but otherwise everything else exactly from the doing the little crayon drawing to the exact same fight that takes place in the SUV is still in there.
Nice.
That's good.
Well, looks like we got a lot to geek out over.
Oh, he said the thing. He said the thing.
Yeah. Y'all think we're going to geek out show
That's
over
it, guys. We're done. We said the thing. We're finished. We're glad you enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
We won't be back for another 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well, you just shot ourselves in the foot, too, assuming we're still going to be geeking out in
6 years.
6 years?
God, I'll be like 35.
Yeah, I'm in the minority.
Yeah. But, yeah, so we'll see you guys next week. This has been another installment of Catching Up. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Eric Bana.